Hello everybody, my name is Fred Herman and welcome to another episode of Fingerstyle Favorites. Tonight's episode goes back into three different places in time. I'm not necessarily going to be sticking to them in chronological order, so I'm going to get right down to the nitty-gritty of it, and that for me was 2002. So what was going on in my existence at that time, it wasn't the nicest time. I just had my heart broken into a million pieces by a girl that I loved immensely. She was a pilot, I was a paramedic. It just looked at the time like it was going to be the love story of the era, of the generations, love story of the millennia even. But alas, it wasn't meant to be. So I was wounded, I was sore, I was heartbroken, and yeah, you know the feeling. But let's go take a look and see what else was happening in the year of our Lord 2002. And it starts with People's Magazine voted Ben Affleck as the sexiest man alive. Justin Timberlake on the cover of Rolling Stone's magazine. Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears break up. Christina Aguilera goes into her dirty phase. Michael Jackson caused an international controversy after he dangled Prince Michael II off the balcony of his hotel room in Berlin. The Osbournes hit MTV. Rapunzel Barbie is released, as well as Nickelback's How You Remind Me. But alas, not everything in 2002 was as dire as I just made it seem. It was also the year that I discovered Tony Cox's music. So in my heartbroken phase, I made this friend who worked at a guitar shop and fixed guitars and was also a guitar teacher and a musician. And he took me to a restaurant in North Riding area, a suburb in Johannesburg, to watch this live show of South African guitar players. I didn't think much of it. I didn't think that I was going to be necessarily treated to a wonderful experience. But alas, I went up into the restaurant and it was a nice venue and it looked cozy and it, nicely set up. And all of a sudden this gentleman comes on stage with long hair, a bit of a beard. And this was my facial reaction when the music started. And the emotions were kind of twofold. One, I was in total awe of this man's playing. Two, I was angry at myself that I had never heard of this guy before, because how many experiences had I sort of deprived myself of prior to that? And, as this self-proclaimed guitar fanatic, like, how do I not know who these guys were? Alas, it was a wonderful evening. I think Steve Newman also played that evening, and there was one other guest guitarist, but I can't remember who that was. I mean, we're going back quite some time. Fast forward a little bit, the same friend of mine, I think he was house sitting this house, and I went to go visit, but there were a bunch of other people there as well, and all of them guitar players, and basically, so there was this little half moon of people with guitars sitting in front of the television in the living room, and on the TV through a VHS video cassette was Tony teaching people how to play his song Tenderoso. I just watched him like, wow, that's what he played the other day. I got all excited and I was hoping that these guys would maybe let me borrow that VHS tape so that I could learn the song, but they were douchebags. They never let me take it. So I was forced to basically buy the CD. The CD itself was Cool Friction, and the album was released in 1996. Tony, correct me if I'm wrong. But Cool Friction was just this unbelievable African tapestry. I love all of the African themes in that album. And Cool Friction is still, until this day, one of my top 10 favorite acoustic albums. If I had to make a suggestion as to the quintessential Tony album to buy, Cool Friction would be it. But please, guys, that doesn't limit your listening experience if it comes to Tony Cox's music. Tony's entire repertoire is just amazing. So guys, please go explore Tony's music if you liked what you've heard so far. I obviously didn't get that VHS tape to learn the song, so I had to learn it by ear, which was maybe in hindsight a little bit of a mistake because I had taught myself some bad manners in terms of the song. and also sort of played it the way I wanted to play it, and sort of became the equivalent of just learning the cool lick and never learning the song properly, because I think I deprived myself of some very, very important lessons that I could have learned earlier if I had actually just bought the sheet music and taken lessons with Tony. Let's talk about the song a little bit in terms of a musical sense. It is in drop D, and what I find I learned from actually buying the tab from Tony quite recently, obviously preparing for this video, is that in terms of drop D tuning, it isn't just your normal kind of bass line that stays here in this real estate of the neck. The whole song has this beautiful forward momentum in terms of the drop D tuning. So it opened up a new map and a new pathway for me to explore the tuning. And also the key changes in there to, from D into A minor. There's a lot to learn from a music theory perspective. Starting with this beautiful kind of D orientation, going into G. These are just wonderful, wonderful lines. What I found difficult in terms of learning this song is that Tony's performance on the album, it's playful. It's the only word that I can really use to describe that song. It has this wide open rubato, so it breathes beautifully. It sort of has a little bit of energy at one point, then it comes down and it tempers into the sweet little demure piece again, then it gets energetic again. Partial bars really, they really kill my fingers. And this little banjo pick that he does on here has just caused havoc on my index finger joint. But there are a lot of secrets in Tenderoso about drop D tuning, and as a quintessential fingerstyle player, if that's what you want to be, alternate tunings are going to be very important and should be quite high on your list of priorities, and none more simple than drop D. You're simply taking the bass string down to D from E. So a lot to learn in terms of the theory, and some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful jazzy and African movements that you're going to learn in this song. Which brings me to another point. If you are an aspiring guitar player and you are wanting to get possibly the best lessons you can get, Tony is your man. I can't stress this enough. The things that Tony will teach you are of such importance, because I'm a self-taught guitar player. I never really had these things instilled into me because I was just messing around in the bedroom for a long time in my own guitar playing. But it's timing, it's good technique, the discipline, and also the music theory behind the playing. All of these things are very important. You learn good technique so that you can actually have a good sound when you are playing something or writing your own music. And then to have that bit of musical knowledge and theory knowledge is to learn what to do with the ideas that you get. So there's a lot of beautiful stuff surrounding Tony. Great music, great learning, and also a bit of the culture and the community in terms of the fingerstyle player or the acoustic guitarist in South Africa. A lot of my friends on Facebook and social media and in real life all idolize Tony, and we're this little community that is just wonderful and sticks together. That brings us to the last date.
Circa 1985, somewhere around there. Hey Fred, it's quite simple. I used to live in Scarborough with my ex-wife Jennifer, and one of Jenny's expressions when she was feeling a bit kind of under the weather and not really feeling like facing the world was she'd come to me and say she was feeling a little bit Tenderoso today, and that's where it came from.
So Tony, thanks a lot for all the years of writing great music, teaching people how to play their own music, and just being an inspiration to us all. This is a homage from me to you. And guys, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, but more importantly, In the description box of this video, I'll let you know where you can find Tony's music, where you can find the tab, and how you can get hold of him if you want to start having some lessons with the man. I can't stress how good he is at teaching. So wherever you are in the world, may it be morning, afternoon, evening, be safe, be kind, be good. This is Fred signing off. Thanks for watching. Cheers.